right, everybody, we are back with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. As always, we try to get in a dozen of our community's questions, 6 on Saturdays, 6 on Sundays. Hopefully you've been a long-time listener of the Cabral concept, a part of our global health community. If you're new to the show, every single weekend, love being able to answer your wellness, your weight loss, your anti-aging questions. Keep in mind, this is episode 2,872. That means it's very likely that if you have a question, it's already been answered. And I would love to make sure that you're getting answers to your questions. So head on over to stephencabral.com/podcasts and just type in whatever your keyword is. Yesterday, we had a bunch of questions on digestion, prostate, osteoporosis, omega-3s, vegan omega-3s, what else? Estrogen balance, dandruff. So all of those can be searched right inside of that box. And believe it or not, I've already answered those questions. So again, I'm always happy to answer them. I really am. But I just want you to make sure that if you ask your question at stephencabral.com/askcabral, it does take about 10 to 12 weeks or so to get that answered live on the show. And it may have already been answered. So there you have it. All right. And if you're having difficulty finding your answer, just write in at cabralsupportgroup.com, and more than likely we'll be able to help find that show for you. Okay, let's get into our questions though, because again, I love being able to get into as many as we can. So if you want to read along with the questions, head on over to stephencabral.com/2872. All right, first question is from Anonymous. They say, "Hi, Dr. C. I'm interested in how to brew herbal teas properly. How long for each herb? And also, can they be steeped for longer or even twice or 3 times? Or do they keep their medicinal properties only the first time and after they are just flavoring the water? What temperatures for each? What about cold steeping? Anything and everything about how to properly make herbal tea to reap maximum benefits. Thank you." You know what? I don't know if I've ever done a show on tea. The amazing Michelle, that most of you know from cabralsupportgroup.com, would know. And so I'm going to ask Michelle if I've ever done a whole show on tea. And if not, I'm going to put that in my notes right now, because I can't answer that whole thing. That would be the whole day's show, right? Today's answering 5 to 6 questions from the community. But let me give you some answers right away, right? Because you wrote in, you waited the time. I want to make sure that I answer your questions. Okay. First and foremost, if it's an herbal tea, that's a little bit different. Remember, herbal teas are different than tea. Let me explain. A tea comes from a specific genus, a specific plant. And it would be like black tea derivatives, green tea, even white tea is a tea. It's young leaf. And then there's black teas, right? So it's like, okay, those are teas. And then when we move outside of that, we're looking at ginger, passion flower, chamomile, right? I could go on and on. And so all of those are actually herbs. They're technically not a tea. We call them teas, but they're an herbal drink. And those are great, right? They're some of my favorites. Ginger tea for digestion, marshmallow or peppermint tea for calming an acidic stomach, chamomile tea for calming the nervous system and sleep. Like there's literally one for everything, right? Tulsi tea for the nervous system. So what I want to share with you is this. All teas, you typically don't want to use boiling water. But with herbal teas, it's actually more acceptable because you're boiling herbs and not tea leaves, which degrades them to a further degree. So if you're making green tea or black tea or even white tea, which is even more delicate, you would use water below 180 degrees. Typically it's 176 degrees. All right. If we're really being like tea aficionados here, usually that's what they'd say. But that also would still be, you want to cool it a little bit before you might add raw honey or something like that to it. So, okay. The other part was, how long can you brew it for? All right. Well, the longer you leave in like black tea, the more actually the strong it is. So the more caffeine there is in as well. Now, herbal teas, there's no caffeine because they're herbs. There's no caffeine in those specific herbs. So you can leave in the tea bag, like unless it's ginger, which might be too much spice for you, you can leave in a chamomile tea bag. You can leave in whatever for the whole time you're drinking it, which is typically what I do. And so it becomes stronger. So you get more of that thing. The longer it steeps, the stronger it is. Now, 3 to 5 minutes is typical. If you leave it in for longer, yes, it depletes those herbs for the second time around. So for me, I typically, just like you said, it's more water flavor after that. So if I want the medicinal value, I'm putting in a full tea bag and I'm actually keeping it in while I drink. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. And then I'll do a whole show. So that's a great idea. Joanna is up next. Joanna says, hi, Dr. Ball. Do you recommend calcium supplementation in pregnancy for a woman who does not consume dairy or recommend it at all? What are your overall thoughts with calcium in pregnancy? Many thanks, Joanna. Yeah, I recommend calcium with magnesium, right? So it's in the daily nutritional support. It's in the daily activated multi, but I actually have no issue with women using what's called CalMag Complete, a very balanced calcium to magnesium for their bones and the growth of the child as well. So yeah, I can absolutely recommend that as safe. I don't recommend herbs during pregnancy, many of them, but I do recommend your vitamins, your minerals, your omega-3s, because all of them help with actually a healthy birth and a healthy development of that unborn child. So yes, I recommend that, not mega doses, but I do recommend that. And then of course, if you don't eat dairy, is your leafy greens and other things that are high in calcium. Okay? All right. Nana is up next, or Nana. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing. Hi, Dr. Ball. Thank you for your ongoing support. I did the CBO protocol, but couldn't get through the Candida month. I got extremely inflamed because I'm sensitive to herbs due to a salicylate sensitivity. I tried titrating, but nothing worked. Even like a sprinkle of herbs gets my gut super inflamed in my gut. I instead focused on the CBO diet, probiotics, and daily multi, but I just feel even more sensitive to herbs lately. I'm currently taking L-glutamine to seal my gut, and even though it helps, I think all the inflammation from when I accidentally have salicylates throws me off and makes it hard to seal my gut. So far, I've tried glycine to help me detox better, but it hasn't helped much. I tried the Cabral detox as well, but I got super inflamed. Any guidance? Okay, so to me, it seems like you are someone, again, I can't give any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but you very well may be, like I used to be, very Th2 dominant. So things like grass, mold, pollen, the outside world affects you, smells, chemical sensitivities, a lot of foods, herbs, all those things used to inflame me, even probiotics. And so what did I have to do? Well, ultimately, I had to do the work to repair my gut. So if you haven't run the Big Five, I would do that, or at least the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, and maybe the food sensitivity test. Figure out what you need to eliminate. And if there is yeast overgrowth and there is bacterial overgrowth, we need to eliminate it. Like some way, some shape, some form, we have to. So it's either the CBO protocol with Equilife, or variations of it, maybe just the GI balance, right? Maybe just the biofilm disruptor at first and not the herbs, right? So maybe try that. Or maybe, again, this is always last resort, but I want to let people know you have to fix the underlying root cause. So maybe you want to speak to a functional medicine doctor that would prescribe you something like nystatin for yeast or overgrowth, right? Like I'm not a big antibiotic fan. I'm really not. But maybe you need something for if you have parasites. So like we need to look at that because we can't turn a blind eye to an underlying root cause. And all of those things can continue to create higher levels of histamines that are exacerbating your symptoms potentially. So you might have to go on a lower histamine diet, keep working on your intermittent fasting as able to. Again, I can't provide you medical advice. And then find out exactly what your body needs. Run a bacteria and parasite stool test. Then eliminate the underlying root causes, the toxicities. Replace those deficiencies. You might be low in zinc, vitamin B6, and magnesium. I was. When I got those things, I started to feel much better, right? So always do what you can do. Get a precision-based plan built for you, and I know you'll get there. I got there, and I know that you will too. All right. Ryan's up next. First of all, thanks for all you do in sharing all of your years of knowledge and wisdom with all of us to help expedite our health journeys. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. I have two questions. First, I have a 6-year-old daughter. She is always happy, does great in school, and eats fairly well. But when it comes to sleep, she tosses and turns and grinds her teeth constantly all night long. Do you have any thoughts or ideas on deficiencies or toxicities as to what would cause any of these? Okay. So potentially parasites. It's not uncommon in children. So we run a bacteria and parasite stool test. Okay, that's number one. Number two, low in magnesium, low in B6, low in folate, low in methylcobalamin. You would run that with what's called the starter kit. And that is at stephencabral.com/starter-kit. My daughters run it every year along with the food sensitivity test. So just letting you know, I do the same exact thing because she may be low in certain B vitamins, magnesium, and maybe even zinc as well. And I know that I just kind of named those as well for the immune system, but I just have a lot of research behind those, and I'm just kind of looking at, okay, the big rocks theory and also, the 80-20 rule. Like what are the minimum amount that I can give you that might get you the best results? So that's where I would start. All right. I hope that's helpful. Your second question is, what are your thoughts on Urolithin A? I see a lot of promising claims, but I was wondering if you have any experience. What would it rank in your hierarchy of supplements? If everything else is dialed in, would it be worth taking? Take it for maybe a month or two, a year. Thanks again. Great questions, Ryan. So I go through that actually in High Performance Health. So check out highperformancehealth.org. I don't promote it that much. It is, I think, the most cutting-edge, unbiased research on advanced health, anti-aging, and longevity. Like it's literally A to Z everything. So in that, it's funny. I don't tell you to take 41 supplements, but I actually give you the whole hierarchy. There's four tiers, and I would put Urolithin A in tier 4. I agree with the research. I actually think it looks pretty good. It's early though. It's early. It's like taking a lot of these senolytics. It's early. They look promising. They look great. Am I going to be the canary in the coal mine? No, that's not what I signed up for, and that's not what I'm recommending to my private clients. Therefore, it's not what I'm recommending to you. But it shows promise. And so we're going to keep an eye on it. And it might be something that we just use, like you just said, maybe twice a year for a month. Like that might be it. Like maybe that's how we use it. So it's very interesting, but it's also great for the mitochondria. We do so many other things naturally for the mitochondria. All right. Let's get in one more question. This one's from Katie. Katie says, "Hi, Dr. Bral. Could you please give me some advice on how best to absorb fat-soluble vitamins without a gallbladder? Also, how can I optimize my digestion as I think I have low stomach acid and low digestive enzymes as I'm very bloated all the time?" All right. So first things first, if you are bloated, I'm an underlying root cause kind of person. Here's why though. So not everybody practices like me, but it took me 10 years to get well. I don't know if anybody knows that level of frustration. I didn't miss out on ages 17 to 27. That's a misnomer. But life was difficult. I did not have an easy teenage to 20s years. I didn't. I was sick all the time. I don't want to get into it right now, but it was challenging. Everything was hard. When you have no energy, constant flu-like symptoms, can't sleep, and brain fog, everything is difficult. All the things I talk about, your relationships, your career, your health, your body transformation, your spirituality, everything is a challenge. Here's what I say now. I don't want to guess. Sure, I can help you with this. Run the big 3. The big 3 is like the big 5, but it's all about digestion. Bacteria and parasite stool test looks for parasites, bacterial overgrowth, yeast overgrowth, H. pylori. The Candida metabolic and vitamins test looks for yeast overgrowth, overgrown beneficial bacteria, vitamin levels, much more. And the food sensitivity tells you sensitivities to certain foods from a latent-based response. So then we give you a precision plan. Now, let's say you're not going to do that. Okay, understood. Let me at least help. If needed and you don't have H. pylori, betaine HCl with pepsin can be beneficial. Or instead of that, you might use a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in room temp water, 6 ounces, just sip on it during a meal or after a meal. Or you might use ginger tea to get that warmth, that heat, right? The agni from Ayurveda. You're going to take most likely 2 to 3 daily digestive enzymes. The ones I use are at stephencabral.com/shop. That's what we use in our practice, daily digestive enzymes, 2 to 3 at the start of a meal to improve digestion. And then the last one is you may use ox bile since you may not be producing as much bile as you need. And that would enable you to have a healthy, well-balanced, excuse me, almost made it the whole podcast without coughing, So that would give you the heat, the enzymes, and then the bile, right? The three parts of that digestive phase. And that helps most people. But I'm also an underlying root cause kind of person. Yes, you don't have a gallbladder. I get that. But if you have low stomach acid, okay, well, what's going on there? And if you are always bloated, well, there's probably more going on. And so I'd like to look at that too. So everything we use in our practice, you can check it out at stephencabral.com/shop. That'll take you over to EcoLife. If it works for you, phenomenal. We'd love to be able to help. If not, find a good integrative health practitioner. And you can find them at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Whoever you want to work with, fine with me, but you know now you have options. So hopefully this was helpful. I appreciate all of you. I thank you. I can't thank you enough, to be honest with you. I really do mean that. And every single day, I'll be back with a brand new Cabral concept. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.